you guys. Okay, I'm a few minutes early, but I got some 2 little hoodlums that I have to get to bed, so I thought I'd go ahead and do it. And I have a list of things I want to talk about because this is super important, and I'm going to try not to get emotional about it. But I shared this past weekend how I struggled with PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and I always call it like PMS on steroids, right? And it's not fun. It's not fun at all. And honestly, I guess I probably still struggle with it a little bit. Did you look on the counter in your bin? Okay. I still probably struggle with it a little bit, but it's so much better, you guys. Like, so much better. Hey, guys. Hey, as you're hopping on. Hey, Tracy. Hey, love. As you're hopping on, give me a heart or high five or something and just tell me where you're watching from. But like I said, I shared this weekend that I struggled with PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And so honestly, going back and looking back and knowing what I know now, I think I struggled with this since the first time I started to get my periods. You can ask my poor mother what I was like to live with whenever my periods came. But I can think back to honestly, being 15 years old and just having this like uncontrollable just anger at times and just sadness and not depression, not severe depression like a lot of women struggle with. Mine was mostly like anger and just frustration and just, just discontent. And it lasted for a good 2 weeks before I would get my periods. And ever since I was a young girl, I had really, really heavy periods too. They would last like 7 days and they were just heavy, like so heavy. And I just thought that was my lot in life. I just thought that was what it was hereditary because my mom suffered from that and I knew my sisters did too. And so I thought it was just part of it. What, sweetheart?
Can I sit with you?
No, not right now, okay? Let me finish this. Okay. And so I thought that was just something I was going to have to live with. Well, whenever I got into college, I really started to become more aware of it. You know how like when you're a teenager, you don't really care what other people think or if you hurt people's feelings and you just kind of rock through life. Well, whenever I started to get older and mature a bit, I started to really notice how I felt and how it was affecting my relationships. And so I started to do some research because I just kind of like from what I gathered from other people, the mood swings were not that common. I knew there was PMS, but like what I was experiencing was so much more severe than just PMS, just the cramps and a little bit of moodiness. Like it actually affected how I felt about myself, how I treated other people, and it was just very severe. So I started to do some research. I honestly talked to my healthcare providers and they were not helpful whatsoever. They were just like, you just have to live with it. It's part of being a woman. And I was like, okay. So I started to do some research and I discovered for the first time when I was in college premenstrual dysphoric disorder and what the symptoms were. And of course I met all those and what the treatments were. And honestly, most of what the suggestions were either birth control, which I was on to kind of help with the heaviness of my periods, or, they definitely suggested cleaning up your eating. I can tell you right now, I was not in a place where I was like, okay, I'm going to start eating clean. I did drink a lot in college. Like I ate a lot of crappy food and like it was not conducive to controlling my PMDD. And honestly, I wasn't at a place in life where I was like, okay, I'm going to stop doing that, right? I wasn't a believer. I wasn't following Christ and I loved my food. And so I just continued to eat the way that I wanted to. I got on the birth control to try to help with it. And it did help a little, but not a whole lot. So, it really was not until I was married to my Matt and I really started to, I was living with another person that I cared about a great deal. Then I did get saved when I was 24 and I really started to really become even more aware of my actions and the feelings and the responses I was having to him. And I was much more aware of how PMDD was really affecting my life. And so like I was very just my mood swings for 2 whole weeks before my periods would start were extreme. Like I was cranky. I got mad at him about the stupidest things. And I just was really hard to live with for 2 weeks. And so the research, again, I wasn't willing to change my eating habits yet. And I wasn't overweight. I didn't struggle with being overweight. And so I loved my food. And so I wasn't going to cut out the donuts and the fried chicken and the french fries, right? But I did discover that the birth control gas was one of the ones that really helped with PMDD. And so I got on it. That was the one I switched to when we got married. And it did help. It helped with the mood swings and the severity of my symptoms. But what it also did was it like totally decreased my sex drive. Like, didn't want to at all. And I'm just being really real because I've had a lot of conversations with you ladies in private messenger about this, and you're dealing with the same things. And I feel like this is my story to tell to help you. And so what it did, the gas did, was it totally made me not want to do that part of our relationship whatsoever. Like, really just made me feel sick to my stomach. Didn't want to go there at all. I knew that was not what marriage was supposed to be like. I knew that I should not feel that way about being married to my husband. And so, after I had kids, like, obviously I got off of birth control and all that stuff. I didn't have a period for like 4 years because I was pregnant or nursing with my boys. They were really close together. And so that was honestly, at that point, the happiest 4 years of our marriage. And, but after that was over and, things started to regulate and go back to normal, everything came back and I had to get back on the medicine. And then whenever I started to gain weight, guys, I swear to you, I will believe this till the day I die. God got my attention with my weight. Like, I needed not just to lose weight, I needed to take control of what I was doing to my body, of what I was doing to my relationship. I always had high cholesterol. I'd been on cholesterol medicine at an early age, early 20s, got off of it to have babies, and then obviously after I had my kids, like, I really started to educate myself a whole lot more and be aware of what I was doing to my body. And I knew I did not want to get back on the cholesterol medicine. I didn't want to get back on the birth control. And God made me gain weight. Like, I believe that with all my heart, because if I had not started to gain weight, I never would have really cared that much about the food and the things I was putting into my body. And that's embarrassing to admit, but the weight got my attention. And so I found this workout program, the first workout program I did at home in May of 2014. I did it. Not only was it a workout program, but it came with a whole nutrition guide that totally taught me how to eat better. It wasn't about cutting food groups. It wasn't about counting points. It wasn't anything like that. It was just real food. And I just started to watch my portions and what I was putting into my body. So the workout program, coupled with the nutrition in the first couple months, really helped me lose the weight, but also start to feel better because I was eating good whole food. And then I didn't buy the superfood shakes that I drink now. I didn't buy it for quite a few months because that was stupid. I'm not buying a bag of powder that costs that much money. But I really started to see other women get results and feel better with drinking the shake. So I invested in it, and oh my gosh, it just double timed everything. I was already feeling better. My hormones were better. I started to include this shake, and within a couple of months, my hormones, my PMDD was almost gone, and my cholesterol was lower. And I was like, oh my goodness, I could get off of this medicine. I'm going to try it. It's worth it just to try it for a little while. And I will never forget telling Matt that I was going to get off my birth control, because he knew what it did for me. He knew that it helped control the crazy, and I was so scared. I was so scared. It was that bad. It was really that bad. But I got off of it, and my first period came, and it was so much better. There was almost no symptoms. And the next one came, and it was good. And I started to have hope that I didn't have to live with this. And it worked. It worked, and it still works today. And so whenever I put a message into somebody's inbox inviting you to join a boot camp or to eat clean or to work out or to try my superfoods, it's not because I'm just a coach. It's because it changed my life from the inside out. And I talk to you ladies, you young ladies who are struggling with the same things that I did in your health and in your relationships with your husband, and I don't want that for you. And so if I can tell you to start working out, to start eating cleaner, to try this 30-day money-back guarantee on this shake that I have been drinking for 4.5 years, it's because it changed my life. And can I still be a crazy person sometimes? Absolutely, yes. But my relationships are better with my husband, with my kids, with the people that I love the most. And I don't struggle with PMDD like I used to. And I can tell you there is a direct correlation to when I eat bad, when I drink Diet Cokes, aspartame, sugar, extra alcohol, all that stuff, fried fatty foods make it so much worse. And there's a direct correlation to when I eat that food, when I put it into my body, when I miss my shakes for a week, to the next cycle that comes, and it makes a difference. I did all that research in college. I ignored it, and it wasn't until I had to do something that I changed something. And so if you can learn anything from me, whether you're 22 or whether you're 52, what we put into our bodies matters. What we do matters. What, babe?
Can we watch a little bit of Incredible?
Just a minute, okay? These crazy people that God put into my life matter, and this is why I do it. And so PMDD is not fun, but I do think that most of us can control it with what we put into our bodies. And so if you have questions, or if you want to talk about it, if you want to share your struggles, like, I'm here to help you and to pray with you and to just tell you what worked for me. I'm not a doctor, and honestly, a lot of doctors didn't really help me. They weren't really willing to listen to me and say, this is what I'm struggling with. They just wanted to give me a different kind of birth control always. And so, I had to do my own research. I had to do my own methods of figuring out what worked. But don't give up. I know it's really hard to live with, but you don't have to live with it at the severity that it probably is right now. So anyway, sorry I cried. I didn't mean to cry. But I am here to answer any questions that you have. Right now I'm here to go wring my little boy's neck because he won't stop interrupting me.
Well, can we watch just a little bit of Incredible too?
All right, guys.
Can we
Bye.
watch a little
Good
bit
night.
of
I hope that helped.